Alright, Group Racing, day 2 of the championships is on the horizon. The Beaver's with us for an Easter weekend preview. What's cracking, mate?
Happy Easter, mates.
Thank you.
Good to be with you, and good to be doing the form on what is a cracking day's racing at Randwick on day 2 of the championships.
Yeah, do you enjoy getting stuck into this? I know I did.
Yes, I did enjoy getting stuck into this, and even more so because I will be out at the track on Saturdays, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, it was a good card, and yeah, a lot of form to get through.
Absolutely. So we'll get stuck in just quickly. Some nice results early yesterday at the midweek show. I'm glad I sort of stayed out once I realised the biases were in play later in the day, but some nice starts, including
off to a flying start.
I think we had the first 4 or 5 winners between us, so
yes,
it was very nice. But anyway, we will get stuck into this now. Only as good as your last effort, I guess. So we're going to head to Randwick first for the championships. 4 Group 1s on the card. We've got a heavy track right now. Only supposed to be a thunderstorm tomorrow and not much rain in the weekend. They did cop a lot of rain last week, so it's still heavy. I was hoping maybe soft 7, not sure. I've treated it as a heavy 8. Maybe slightly better. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the case as well. The track holds it pretty well, and if the rain stays away or reasonably well away for the next day or two, then I think it should play okay.
The rail moves into the 4 metre mark. It was similar there, I think, back in January. Probably didn't want to be too far from the rails, but for all intents and purposes, I've treated this as a fair track for now. We've got the Fernhill Mile kicking us off for the 2-year-olds. What a listed race here. How are we going to start the day?
Yeah, only 8 starters here, but I found it one of the trickier affairs on the day because obviously you won't know how the track is playing. First up here, I went looking for something and I landed back on Inhibitions just purely at the moment because I think it's been racing the most consistently of all of these. It was a good run last start in the Group 3 behind Anamoe. I thought it stuck to its guns really well there. I think from the inside gate here, if there is any favouritism there, it's going to get it in the first. It can either take up the lead or sit just behind it. For that reason, I'm going to have it on top.
Beautiful. It does look the obvious here. Fought out the finish in the Ballet a couple of weeks back. So is on top from me. I've got the danger as a stablemate. I think we both had an opinion of Tom Keaton going down to Melbourne. It copped the flack of that fall in the size there, so it was out of play. He actually hit the line quite well, and Nash jumps on, which I'm not sure might even suggest it's the top seed for blue colours. I have that as the clear danger from Townsend, who showed a lot of fight at Wyong, and to me looks bred to be a miler. Done deal out of Secret Admirer that has Randwick Mile written all over it. But yeah, to start the day, I think the blue colours fight it out again.
Yeah, I'm tipping he wasn't a cheapie.
No, he was not. I think he was somewhere in the vicinity of 800 plus when I went at a sneaky look, but didn't write that much down. The second is the 1400 metre listed for the 3-year-olds. Good little race here. Some nice resumers. I made a call in this race and I decided to go against the Kensington lead-up and ride away from that. So I'm keen on a couple here, the first one's at a price, but I've got it on top here, Stylised. Forgotten horse here. It won it nicely at the Rose Hill over the 1400 metres before it went out. Then was pretty good in the Gloaming, only about a length and a half off Sharp and Smart, and pulled up lame after that. Trial was good, and it's 20-1, so I am fairly keen. It is a nice bet here. And then I went looking for the 2 which sort of are linked together here, which is Perfect Thought and Renaissance Women. Perfect Thought won the Carbine Club down in Melbourne Cup week before going out. But when I went and watched the trial, Renaissance Women trialled outstanding ahead of it. Does have some black type down in Melbourne. I think those 2 are in this race up to their ears, and on the back of the trials going to make Renaissance Woman the main danger. But you could make others here. I know you've been a fan of Kovalika. This is a good little race. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm actually going for Renaissance Woman myself. I thought it was pretty good when last in work, and as you said, I really liked the look of its trial. It ran some really nice races. It won it won nicely, and then went to the Group 1 race there over I think that was the Derby there, and it wasn't disgraced. It sort of got back, and you know, it would have derived a lot from that. And then prior to that, again at Group 1 over 2000, was only 3 lengths behind Sharp and Smart. Trials have been good. I think it can run a big race first up, and I don't mind the double figure odds. So I think you're right there. Perfect Thought was a nice trial as well, and Pennyweka, as you stated, it's a horse I have a bit of opinion of, and I think wasn't asked to do much in its trial, but when it went to up in North, it ran some really nice races, was short price, but went up there and killed him. No reason it can't run as well.
I'm assuming it's probably come back here. This is a random thought. I assume it's come back here to have a run here, and it might go back to Queensland and contest the Derby and the like up there over the Winter Carnival.
Yep, but worth a look.
Definitely.
First up, it's one on the soft. But yeah, don't let it under your guard.
Absolutely. We've got the third, which is the Percy Sykes, Percy Sykes Stakes. 2-year-old fillies, Group 2 over 1,200 metres. And I am going to stick with the Waterhouse Yard here with Autumn Ballet. It bolted in the Black Opal on debut. It's trialled since, where it was awesome. It beat up Lazargo in that trial, who comes back here from the slipper. And I've got as the Main Danger, which did cop another one that copped the brunt of that fall in the slipper and was pulled out of it. We saw Militarise come out and win last week. I think Lazargo, if you go back two back and forget the last one, it did bolt in here in the Sweet Embrace. So I have it as the Main Danger. Little bits and pieces away from that, but that's the way I'm looking at it, Beaver.
Yeah, I've gone for Autumn Ballet as well. I got it on top. A lot to like about everything it's done, both on the trial track and in its only starts. Gets the gun draw here in Gate 1. Going to be super hard to beat here. My clear on top. Main Danger, Bossy Nick was good in Melbourne. If it continues to improve, can run a race.
The fourth is the 1,400 metre Provincial Midway Championships Final for $600,000. Cracking little field. Who's going to win, though?
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it? A cracking little field, and some horses coming off some really nice wins last start. I've gone for number 3, Lock Eagle.
Okay.
It's a horse I've always liked, and first up was a so-so run behind Kobe over the 1,200, but certainly here getting up to the 1,400 suits it better, and we saw that last start at Newcastle in what was a decent affair. It sat well back in the field, but got out to the middle of the track and just put him away pretty easily. It ran quite easily held there, and I think it will have improved from that. So I've got it as my on-top pick. The two that I put as the Main Dangers is number 1, Audette. That was a good win, hard-fought win, and has run close behind Kobe previously, so I think it can run well. And Kobe itself, it's a good little horse, and has done everything right in its 6 starts.
I've got Kobe on top. It, well, as you said, it won pretty well and did own Audette, or gave Winburn to Audette in that qualifier. I think Audette might be the better wet tracker. Did come and has come down and had a Metro win since, which sets up great for this. I think they're the two main chances here. And then the other two, or at least that go to my early quaddy, Short Shorts bolted in, chasing a leader down at Kembla. The horse that chased Short Shorts, I'm going to make a bit of a case for, Cloudland. It was all over the straight trying to reel in Short Shorts like a drunken sailor. Now gets Nash on, who's going to keep it nice and straight. It's got a bit of upside. If it gets its head together at round 20s, like I said, a nice one that can go into your exotics there. They're the 4 key ones for me. And as you say, probably Lock Eagle next best. But good race, and the wet probably makes it even more interesting. We saw last week where the 100-1 pop lobbed for everyone, so we'll see how that pans out. Another good race, which I've just noticed a couple extra scratchings, is the 3-year-old Sprint, Group 2 level. What do we do with these two at the top of the market, Half Cabin and Zoo Tiger? I've got a bit of an icky feeling about them, to be honest.
Yeah, you might have a bit of an icky feeling here, but the feeling around the rest of them is even ickier.
Yeah. Jeez, I wish
I haven't done anything.
I wish What You Need had come down.
Yeah, that would have been great would have been an easy pick.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to stick with Af Cabin. I've had an opinion of it as a horse. I have been disappointed the last two starts. Really disappointed, but it did again trial well. And this is a pretty easy, much easier race than what it's been racing against, albeit economics. I think they're at home recently in one of the races. But look, I think Af Cabin probably on top for me. I wouldn't want it to get too much shorter than the price it's at now. It was hard to find anything else, and handles the conditions.
Maybe it's just a sprinter. Maybe he's better freshened up back to this. Might be a bit mad here. I'm going to spec the two fillies down the bottom here. Wee Nessie, a little try. Last two runs have been pretty good. There's been form out of both those races. And is the sprinter we can sort of trust here. Flies in the heavy. And Lady Laguna gets a quick backup. That was its best run last time for a while. Just nabbed in the shadows by Magic Time, who, well, I think is a quality horse. 7-day backup. Joe Moreira on. It's going to lead again. And if there's some chinks in some of the chases, it's going to be bobbing away there about $15. So I'm going to spec both of them each way. It wouldn't shock me if Half Cabin comes out and bolts in, but that's the way I'm thinking here. I imagine Zoo Tiger probably is part of that pace brigade as well. The first of the Group 1s is the Australian Oaks, 2,400 metres, and this is pretty easy for me. I went and found the New Zealand Oaks winner who bolted in there. It's going to come over here to an average group of 3-year-olds. It's going to sit in the running line, and it's going to run away and win this by about 2 lengths, I reckon. So Pennyweka's on top for me, around $6. I think it's a great bet. I think Fireburn's the main danger. I think it closed off quite well over the 2,000, and I think I think it's the best wet tracker. So if we're still in the heavy range, I'm elevating it. And I do think Arts does run well. I have to respect what it did last week, but I went straight to the Kiwi here, and I'm going to stick solid. What are you thinking?
Went the same way as you, mate. Went straight to the Kiwi myself. Looked at its form. I thought Pavitra, it was a nice run last start. I'm not convinced 2,400 is an ideal distance. I've
got a feeling it's on pace miler.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I may be wrong here because this isn't a strong affair, but I just think the other things just looks clearly the best stayer in the race and can outstay these and probably has the best turn of foot. So I've got it clear on top pick for me as well. And I think the price is a good one. I thought Arts was the main danger, as you alluded to. I thought you couldn't fault last start, and it has won 2 of its 3 starts. So that's my second choice.
The next Group 1 is the Sydney Cup, 3,200 metres. We've got Gold Trip finally getting out to his right trip. Is that how you're thinking, or you had enough?
No chance for me.
You're only 2 runs too late to the party there.
Yeah. Gave it a shot once or twice this prep. That's it. Maybe it can win at 3,200, but 59.5. Gate 16 and heavy track at the moment. Not convinced. Which left me with a few others that I was kind of leaning towards. I thought High Emotion has worked into this preparation quite nicely. And I think it can run a really, really good race. Handles the softer conditions. Gate 19's not ideal, but there'll be a couple of scratchings and it goes back anyway. So I'm comfortable that it can get in and get the right run. So it's my own topper, and I think it can run really well. Surefire bounced back nicely last start. And I think that was a good pointer that it can run well again. And as we know, it doesn't mind the sting out of the ground. So I thought it was the main danger. And then obviously the International Cleveland at its first start. Only plotted a bit, but that was its first run this time here. I wouldn't rule it out, but I thought $4 was a bit skinny at this point in time. So High Motion and Surefire at the 12s and 14s range for me.
I've got Cleveland on top. I thought it lined fairly well. It only got going very late in that race. I think it's going to be better for that. I agree. I think you will get $6. I can't imagine it starting any shorter than $4 because if it is, then then it might just destroy him. But I don't think that's going to happen. And definitely respect the two you've mentioned away from it. And Knight's Order has had a bit of company every time it's led these races lately, but gets out to the 3200. I think it's won this race before, actually. May get a cosy time. So the two on paces go into my quaddie as well. Both Hit and Nerve Not Verve, who ran quite well last week back from New Zealand. It's going to be fit and get through the conditions. But good race. A bit better than what I'm getting now, but I think this international is going to be very hard to beat. We've got the clash coming up next. The 2,000 metre weight for age Queen Elizabeth, Anamoe and Dubai Honour head-to-head. Do you have first crack at this one too?
Oh, I'm happy to have first crack, mate. It's going to be no shock that I'm going to stick with Anamoe. I just can't go away from it. It's just a horse that I think is outstanding. Getting $2.50 here because the other thing was very good at its first up run here, but it was Montefilia that it beat, who hadn't been going all that great. But you got to respect that win, and you got to respect it as a horse. But Anamoe for me, done everything right this preparation. Doesn't beat him by much, but it just wins. It's got a big heart, and 2,000 metres we know it can handle. Hasn't missed a place on the soft, and runs well on the heavy as well. So there's nothing here that suggests to me that Anamoe probably should be favourite. I would have thought. I'm surprised that they're equal favourites. I think Anamoe's the favourite. And Cascadian for me is obviously one that I wouldn't leave out. It was a good run last start. If it got out and got a clear run, it would have won by 6. It beat him easy. So it's going well, and no reason that he can't push the other two favourites.
I've gone the international. I've gone Dubai Honour. We keep getting told it's a wet track or two after it destroyed him on the dry. I'm just sticking with the fact those international middle distance horses are better than ours. So going to flip them around. I'd love to see Anamoe win. It'd be fantastic if it does. It's has been one of my favourite horses and is, but going that way, Cascadian, like you said, is obvious, and the Japanese horse goes in everything just because they're better than us too. Unicorn Lion is over here. Will lead this up. There's not a lot of pace in this race.
They're generally better than us. I just don't know if they're better than this one.
That's true as well. Yeah, no, that's true. It's a real interesting to see because if Anamoe does win this, I assume he's off to Ascot. So going to be a great spectacle. Looking forward to it, and can't bother sneakies in the quaddie perhaps when I get to that. We've got the Group 1 Queen of the Turf coming up next. This is for the girls, a weight for age mile. And I have gone straight to the top here as well. You've got Alcohol 3 debuting in Australia here. This has Baid Fawn, which for those who don't know, it was the best horse in the world for a couple of years. And it was only a length off it. It's now coming to a Sydney fillies and mares race. So trials have been what we want to see. JMax on, inside gate, shouldn't be too far away. I think the 350 that it was when I did the form looks pretty good to me. On top, from best of the local chances, is Hope in Your Heart, who was absolutely outstanding last week. Probably the run of the Doncaster with a big task there. And if the international doesn't turn up, she probably wins. Kiwi goes in the quaddie as well, Levante. But looking forward to seeing this step out. Good race, Beaver. What are you thinking?
Yeah, look, I'm not a fan of anything alcohol-free, but I am a fan of this horse to win on the weekends. As you stated, alcohol-free is my tip. It's drawn beautifully here. It should get all the favours, and based on its overseas form, it's going to be super hard to beat. So on top pick for me, and I think you're right, Hope in Your Heart was outstanding, and I certainly think it's a definite danger. I'll be saving on it, and I was super impressed with the Tissues first up run.
Yeah.
And I just think it's starting to live up to potentially its reputation it had some time back. So a Tissue for me is also a good shot.
Beautiful. We've got the Sapphire Stakes for the girls over 1,200 metres, Group 2 to wrap up the card. And I'm sticking with the last start winner, Zapateo. Did get everything in its favour, did get the perfect run, but probably gets the same setup here. There's enough pace where it can get across from the gate. It will slot in somewhere in a running line and gives you a great side again. Hypothetical, I think, overperformed in that race. Was very brave on pace, and to me, still a danger. And the 2 internationals again go in. Night of Romance has come back and trialled quite well. And Princess Grace comes with a little bit of a spruik from America. Trialled okay. And his double figures with Joe Moreira, so they all go into the quaddie as well. But we'll finish with Zapateo, favourite in the last. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Zapateo as well. Thought it was a good win last start, and I think it might get a similar run here. Before that, ran a great race, and it was well back, but four lengths off Uncommon James wasn't the worst in the world in the Oakley Plate when it was resuming, and then stepped out and improved significantly here last start. I think we'll see some further improvement, and my on top pick as well.
Beautiful. Championships Day 2 quaddie. Let's get to it. I'm going to go to the first leg. 1 Gold Trip, 2 Knights Order, 3 Baron Samedi, 5 Arapaho, 11 Cleveland, 12 High Emotion, 15 Nerve Not Verve. I've probably left someone obvious out there. I know High Emotion's there. Cool. Second leg is 1 Anamoe, 2 Dubai Honour. I'm going to throw 3 Alenquer in and 7 Unicorn Lion. If you're so inclined, Montefilia has been known to throw knockouts in these sort of setups, but maybe not here. You have to skinny up somewhere. Second last leg, 1 Alcohol 3, 3 Levante, 5 Hope in Your Heart, 14 Exalita. That last one is as much for my own sanity as anything else. And we'll come home with 1 Princess Grace, 4 Zapateo, 8 Night of Romance, and 11 Hypothetical. Again, if we get a couple of splits there, should pay handsomely. For progretracing.com.au, my best is race 6, number 1, Pennyweka. My value, race 2, number 12, Stylised. What about yourself, Beaver?
Well, your best bet is thrown me because I was actually thinking the same, but I'm going to go something different just because that is your best bet.
Okay.
To give the punters something else. Race 3, number 3, Autumn Ballet.
Yep.
I thought it would be super hard to beat, and my value bet comes up in race 7, number 12, High Emotion.
Beauty. Let's head down south for the support card, which is at Sandown Lakeside, where the rail moves back into the true. We've got apparently a bit of rain around tomorrow. Good at the moment. Hopefully stays in that soft range. I've again treated this as fair, but we know we can see Lakeside days where it is up and in. We don't want to be too far from the lead. The good thing about Sandown is you tend to work that out pretty early. It doesn't change too much throughout the day. We kick off at the first, which is a benchmark 84 over the 1,200 metres for the fillies and mares. How are you starting today?
Yeah, I'm going to start with favourite Foxycon. I know it was convincingly beaten last start, but it wasn't a bad run. It was a length and a half by flinching that flies around the Moonee Valley sprint course of 9:55. It just went too quick and couldn't make the ground and was in behind it. You could see that it was ridden up a bit early.
Yep.
I think that the 1,200 here means it can probably take up the lead or sit right on the pace here. Gets a 2 kilo claim, 53, nothing on its back. We'll be winning this.
I agree with you. Not much more to add. I think the main dangers, if there are any, is Duchess of Dorset, who's going better than perhaps the form reads there, and Party of One coming down from Sydney. Both of those runs have been good too. First up for the Kent Yard. I did spend a time looking at the top two here, Chassis and Barbie's Fox, but I don't think they've been with us for a bit now. So, favourite to start the day there. The second is the Bill Collins handicap, 1,200 metres for the 3-year-old fillies, where I am sticking with the track and distance setup here for Royal Merchant. It's going to roll along in the lead here again. Was only grabbed late in the Group 2 by Shuffle Dancer, who would be probably starting clear favourite in this race. Same setup. I think it gives you a great side around this. What are we now? $8, $7 there. Good start there. From main danger for me is Nakoni, who was flying last prep, comes across and probably sits close to outside lead with it. There are a few other bits and pieces here. Charming Die, Miss Galore, both over the odds to me, but starting today, not starting today, just start with the top weight here. What about yourself?
No, I'm going to stick with the Sydney side of Kazoo. And as you know, like the Sydney side is going to Melbourne. I sometimes think that they're just a little bit better. And the first start it sort of got back and ran on and was only okay, Kazoo, but then last start led and held on nicely. I think there's more improvement in this horse, and I think it can run well. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't try and take up the lead here as well. So that'll be an interesting play. So I've got it on top. My main danger, number 6, Fearless Rider. I think around the $13 mark. I think it can run well. Won well 2 starts back, beating Citizenship, and only just got nutted by Ballet, who ran over it at Moonee Valley last start. So finished powerfully. It can certainly figure.
Yep, because I'll be mentioning that horse a bit later. The third is the Redout's Choice listed race for the 2-year-olds. And I've liked the work to date of the debutant here, Lady of Savoy, the Tavachi filly. 4 trials in preparation for this. I think it's won 3 of them and was quite stylish in the last couple. Bit of a target here to debut and hopefully get some black type straight off the bat. So I've got it on top from I Am Unstoppable, who was a nice enough win over at the Parks track. Probably runs well enough here again. But with the debutant Beaver, yourself?
I'm very keen on I Am Unstoppable here. That was an excellent debut at Morphettville there. Just sat off him and went boom. Went straight past the other horse that was the favourite, and they had a bit of a wrap on, and it made it look fairly average, to be honest. I think this horse might have some upside and might have some ability. So the fact they're bringing it to Melbourne's a good pointer for me, and I've got it as my clear on top.
Race 4 is the 1,400 metre Burt Bryant Handicap. Benchmark 70, I think we're $8 a field. So, $8 a field.
$7.
How's this for a race? I don't know. So I'm just going to make a quick case for a couple. Blood Oath finally showed some pace after doing not a lot first few times in. Jumped straight to the lead last time in and all but won that race you just mentioned with Fearless Rider. What price is it? It's around $15, 20s, yeah. So maybe a spec on that. If it does roll forward again, should find a cosy enough spot. And Rumbled again has the track set up here last time in. That wasn't a bad, is up in grade again. That was a pretty good win. So a couple slightly outside the market, but I don't know really who's inside the market in this one. Do you have any better opinion?
Well, I was going to say they're all outside the market, because this is one of the hardest races I've ever had to look at to do some form. I did settle on one for the punters, number 4, Volton, third up after a spell. I thought both its couple of runs have been pretty good. I liked last time out. It was just over a length behind Ferretti at Sandown Hillside over the 1,400. That was the leader biased track, and it stuck to this task pretty good, given it was back in the field and powered home. So that was a good sign to me that it's come back in good order. I think it can run another really nice race. And I thought the resumption of Good and Proper was pretty decent as well. And prior to that, it ran in some good races and finished off nicely behind the likes of Bizanari and Co.
Doesn't get any easier here with the Jack Elliott handicap, another benchmark 70, 1,200 metres. Again, I don't know. I do think Our Heidi's flying. Hopefully get a bit better coming here, but a little bit short for me in a field like this. Away from it, maybe Bluestone Lane if it does start. No, I can't see a jockey for it just yet. Has been flying as well, and maybe gives you a side around 20s. But again, you could make a case for 8 of these. Are you going to go and tip It's a Kind of Magic again, or are you looking somewhere else?
No, I'm going to stick with Our Heidi this time. $4.50, I don't think is too bad a price here. I think you might get $5. And as you said, it's flying at the moment, gets the 2 kilo claim. And It's a Kind of Magic does meet it 2 or 3 kilos better than last start, but it won easy, Our Heidi, and that was a good win. And then prior to that was pretty good behind Miss Middle Park, and even before that over the thousands. Was running well. This again sets up nicely from gate 2. I think it can control where it wants to sit, and whatever, if anything beats it home, it'll be winning the race.
Lovely. We've got the mile up next, which is for the 3-year-olds, open handicap. Good little race, Beaver. Who's on top?
I've got Gringotts on top, the second favourite here. I think it's just showing some great natural improvement, and I thought it was a great win beating Helix last start. That horse goes all right, and I just think he, again here sets up to sit just behind the pace in gate 1, gets the sitting shot, and hopefully gets the split at the right time. But there's plenty of chances in this race. Loco's a horse on the rise and improving. Dashing was being really good this time in. And I thought the main danger might be Simeon at the double figure odds. It broke through its maiden last start in really stylish fashion. Woodson and Young is a good stable, and again the step up in distance last start was right up its alley, and up to 1600 here won't hurt. I'll be saving on it.
I agree. Simeon is the main danger. That was a nice win and a great setup for this because it's going to get similar things in its favour in this race. I am sticking with Loco. I think if it got to the outside in that race, it wins that race. I think he stuck to the inside a bit too long where that wasn't the place to be. You flip the runs, you flip the result. Sticking with it gets a better setup here. I think it's got plenty of upside. You mentioned Simeon and you've mentioned Gringotts. So I agree with everything else you've said in terms to those other chances. The 1400 metre Group 3 Ladbrokes Handicap is next. And hopefully by now we have a clear track pattern. And if swoopers are in play, I'm going to stick with Frankie Pino, who was a fantastic finish in that 1200 metre race. Hit the line very well there. Straight to 1400, unbeaten at where it's unbeaten at 1400. Great second up record. As I said, if we know by now if Lakeside's playing the way it can do, it may be out of play, but I'm going to spec around the $15 to $20 mark. And then I'm going to say it's go time next for Pinstriped, who's now third up, gets a similar sort of run, and Not an Option comes off a nice win. It'd been going well up to that time, but I'm looking towards some of these younger horses as opposed to the three at the top who I've had a gutful of. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to tip Cardinal Gem.
Yeah.
I thought, excuse me, I thought it was a real tough run last start, and I love the way it stuck to its task. It had to sit outside the lead. It was 3 wide most of the way. It had every right to drop out there, but didn't, and it stuck on really nice there. So I think here, hopefully it can get some cover from gate 9 with a little bit of pace around here, and can run an almighty race in this. So I've got Cardinal Gem on top. But as you said, there's lots of other chances as well. There's a couple of horses like Frankie Pino and Rongole that can swoop home if the pace is on. Just not sure about Eton now. I've got to see it do something again before I can tip it. And the one barrier I don't think helps. I just don't think it's going to like being cluttered up on the fence there. So Cardinal Gem on top for me, fairly keen actually. But I think there's a couple of others in the market that can be savers.
Beauty. Yeah, I sort of, and I think it's a lovely horse, Cardinal Gem. I couldn't split. I think it and Pinstripe bring exactly the same to this race. So which way you want to go with them? We've got the feature, the Easter Cup, a Group 3 up next, 2100 metres. I don't know if it was a Melbourne Cup favourite, but it's a Melbourne Cup fancy in White Marlin stepping out. Does it just win this?
I think so. $3 is not a bad price, I think. Yeah. I thought, a lot to like about its only start. Absolutely killed him, and everyone was sprinting it for the cup, and we'll get to see it step out here. Lovely looking horse as well. So Jordan Childs gets another good ride, interestingly enough here, and I've got it on top.
It's not a
White Marlin for me.
Not a bad stable to find yourself connected to, the Waterhouse stable.
No, and I think Sparkle can run another nice race. It won really easy last start, and probably here could get control and bowl along in front. So don't let it under your guard, but White Marlin for me.
Yeah, well, obviously unbeaten. So it hasn't. If it's now first up, second prep in Australia, this could well be a star on the rise. I'm keen with it. I assume this is the old Lloyd Williams setup where they have one run in autumn, put them away, come back and have the Melbourne Cup campaign. So I think it wins this, goes on to bigger and better things. The two it has to get past, the the one you mentioned in Sparkle, who's going to roll along, get a pretty good time up there on the lead. And its partner in crime on the lead will be Right You Are, who is flying and will make this horse earn it. It won't be a walkover. If it does own these fields, it does own this field. It's well and truly on the way or the right direction to Melbourne Cup land. But yeah, looking forward to seeing it step out again. The last is a mile benchmark 84, and another one I struggled to want to stamp any, so I had to be a bit forgiving to find anything here. And I have gone and forgiven El Rocco, who didn't have a great deal of luck last time. Probably puts his best foot forward at this track, and with even luck, I think runs much better than what it showed last time out. Before that was quite good racing. Where was it? Just getting nabbed at Echuca, but that was behind Heater Shock, which isn't bad form. Series Liaison finally found something last time in. Hit the line quite well. If the swoopers are in play, it can run well again. And a watch on Blue Soldier, who comes off pretty much spending its whole life in the Sydney floods, gets down to the Price Kent Yard and away from David Payne, has trialled well and might be won a few quaddies there. It was your first time for the Price and Kent Yard, as I said. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. You've got to forgive a few here and try and find one. I've forgiven Daytona Bay. And I don't know.
It probably leads us
to. Yeah. Well, this is a much easier race than, we're just talking about the quality of the race 2 races earlier, and it ran 2 lengths behind Not an Option, pretty good affair, and only a couple of lengths behind Scalapini, the start before that, listed race. I think that's okay form for a race like this. So it's down in class. I think it can take up a position where it wants to from gate 10. And I think it can give an almighty sight here over the 1600. So for me, perfect fitness now. Daytona Bay is the way I'm leaning.
If you do want to give us your quaddie.
I do want to give you a quaddie. So here we go. Tricky races. The first leg, race 6. I'm going number 2, Dashing. Number 4, Ringgits. Number 7, Loco. Number 9, Simeon. In the second leg, I am going number 4, Frankie Pino. Number 7, Cardinal Gem. Number 8, Pinstripe. Number 9, Clemenceau. And number 12, Von Gollet. In the third leg, I'm going number 3, Right You Are. Number 8, White Marlin. Number 10, Sparkle. And to finish the day in what is not an easy selection, I am going to go number 5, Daytona Bay. Number 6, Flash Feeling. Number 8, El Rocco. Number 9, Alvadun. And number 15, Daily Bugle.
Beautiful. For progretracing.com.au, of course, check them out for everything going on there. You'll find by this time some tips up for Pakenham as well tonight, but your best in value.
Yeah, I had a couple of horses I really liked to bet on. It was either I really liked them or I was sort of bit split. But my best bet comes in race 8, number 8, White Marlin. Got it on top. And my value bet comes up in race 7, number 7, Cardinal Gem. I think you can get about $6, maybe more.
Beauty. Yep, race 8, number 8, my best, White Marlin as well. And my value, race 4, number 5, Blood Oath. What's going on in Queensland? From what I saw, there's some good betting opportunities up there.
Yeah, there is some good betting opportunities up in Queensland, although they're pretty even type of races. But my tips are race 4, number 2, Red Wave. I think it can run a really nice race. The resuming race 6, number 2, Chinny Boom. I think it's going to be super hard to beat. My value up there comes up in race 7, number 2, Berry Cart. I think you get a little bit of value in that one. And in the last race, race 9, number 13, Good Chat.
Beauty. I've got $100 to spend. I just realised as well. I'm supposed to mention that. Unfortunately, Sharp and Smart struck out last week, Beaver, for you, but hopefully we can
Disappointing.
It was a bit disappointing. Hopefully we can jump. It has been up and doing a bit for a while, but hopefully we can jump back here. I'm going to have $10 on Stylised at $21, $20 on Pennyweka at about $6.50 it is at the moment, 30 on Alcohol Free at the $3.50, and all the rest is going on White Marlin because it'll win. So let's play across that day. Play that across the day, I should say. Anything else around Australia?
That's it for me, mate.
Cool.
That's enough races to bet in and enough winners to find, my friend.
No, that is. Enjoy tomorrow. Have a good time out there. Saturday, in fact. Have a good time out there. My best to you for Easter, you and the family. And best to all the punters out there as well. Take care and stay safe with the family.
And I won't see the punters for about a week or so, mate, because I'm heading on holidays. So I'm leaving it all to you. Apologies, punters. I'll try and sort of school Daggy up to make sure he gets you some winners.
Thanks, mate. I look forward to that. I'll learn something new.
Yes.
Yeah, enjoy it. Hope you and the fam and everyone else has a great time on the open sea, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. I will see the punters this Wednesday morning for a midweek preview. Enjoy Easter, as I said, and we'll chat very soon. Catch you guys.
Ciao for now.